Welcome, everybody. Every item we vote on this evening has been posted by state law. And we're going to do a few recognitions. This first is Benson and a little bit about a house that was built. Curtis, you want to start us off?
Yes. Thank you guys for having us. My name is Curtis Wilson, Jr., and I'm the principal of Benson Polytechnic High School. And what I'd like to do is introduce a couple of my instructors who've been working on the Benson house on Skidmore and Mallory for the past few years. And basically, I'm going to turn it over to these guys, let them talk about the house, and then we have some students who are going to speak on the house as well because they're the ones that have been putting in all the work. So I'm going to turn it over right now to Luke Hotchkiss, and then he's going to talk to some students as well. So,
Right on.
Mr. Hotchkiss.
Thank you.
Well, good evening. I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to face forward or back, but my name is Luke Hotchkiss. I graduated from Benson in the year 2000, and I co-teach with Rich Weber, class of 75.
Hi, Rich.
And so I just want to be real quick and say that if you want to hear more about the house and the program, that you can come to an open house that we're hosting for current and former students this coming Saturday. It's at 130 Northeast Skidmore from noon to 4, just a casual pop by for a couple minutes, see what our students have done, the amazing work that they've created, and maybe have a hot dog or hamburger or something. So, Simon, maybe you could talk about what you've done in our program here, what it's meant to you.
Yeah. So, through the construction program, I'm a junior, Simon Criswell at Benson, and so over the past couple years in construction, I've been working on the house.
Hey, hold on for a quick second. Maybe we get the lights down so we can see this thing. Roseanne, is there a way we can get the lights? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So, I've been in the construction program for the last 2 years. And so I've been doing more of the finish work on the house. So, we've painted the interior. We've done interior carpentry, finished carpentry. We did all the cabinetry. We pretty much build the entire house ourselves. We don't plumb it because that really needs to work. But other than that, it's pretty much all us. So most recently, we laid sod in the yard. That was a hard day. That was a very hard day. Grass is a lot heavier than most people think. So we've just been doing a lot of the finished stuff and are hoping to be able to start the next house next year, assuming we get the permits on the next lots solidified. And yeah.
Good. Well, so
Awesome.
you can like our page on Facebook also at Benson Tech Construction to see more photos.
All right, thank you. Do you guys want to come up for a picture with the board?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's do it.
Get in it.
Grabbing a picture.
And
What are you asking for it?
yeah.
The realtor recommends we list it
No.
at $635.
Now I'll help pay for the next house.
And pay for the next one.
Yeah.
The one after it.
No, it doesn't get here. It stays there. All right. So, Mike.
Thanks, Tom. So, I'm here because I'm on the school board, but I want to welcome Lincoln's environmental justice class, the students, the teachers, the parents, and tonight we're going to acknowledge their great work. Can all the students that are in the class that are here raise their hands? Okay, great. So the class was, I'm just going to give you a quick overview and then they're going to take over. So the class was created right after the Climate Justice Education Resolution that we passed last year. And the class has been an incubator, or as I like to say, a hotbed of climate activism for the Lincoln community and the broader community I added that talking point, hotbed. They're doing collaboration with environmental nonprofits like 350 Portland and Neighbors for Clean Air. They advocate for clean air and climate and clean air policies at the city and state level. For example, Portland's first in the nation zoning ban on future fossil fuel infrastructure. In March, they collaborated with the World Affairs Council on their the World Youth Forum, where they presented multiple workshops. In April, they were featured in Yes magazine in an article called Portland Public Schools First to Put Climate Justice in Classrooms. It's a great article. And most recently, the class won third prize in the McConkey Foundation's National Eco Challenge for its commitment to climate justice activism over the school year. So we're going to have the students show a short video, and then we're going to have CLA Ita, who was the Verslandia Slam Poet Champion from Roosevelt, do a poem on climate justice, all in 11 minutes or less.
Okay. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having us. And first of all, thank you so much for your support of climate justice education in Portland Public Schools, specifically to you, Mike Risen. You've been a huge part of that, so thank you so much. And also specifically for the climate resolution, which passed actually just almost a year ago, actually. And I testified in favor of that last year, and I remember saying that climate literacy was a minimum requirement for my generation's success. And after taking this class, I realized that that doesn't just mean scientific literacy or scientific knowledge, it means social justice education as well. So there's a lot of work to be done, but that resolution is an amazing way to begin that process. And Lincoln's environmental justice and sustainability class is just one of the forms that resolution can take. I'm also on the Climate Justice Committee for Portland Public Schools, so I've seen several examples of the way that resolution can take shape, and that includes some of the things that we've done this year. We've done lots of speaking events with a Marshallese poet, Kathy Jetnall-Kitchener, and there's upcoming workshops for teachers on climate justice and so much more. So thank you for supporting that. So in closing, I would say keep this resolution close to your heart and your budget. Because this is not just the work of one class in 1 year, it's the beginning of something incredibly powerful. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Emma. I'm also a senior, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the projects that our class has been getting involved with. For example, we have a lot of different groups that we split off into of ways that we could communicate activism into our own community. The group that I was a part of was an educational outreach group, and we went into 3 different elementary schools and taught 6 different classes, a total of about 160 students, some basic climate education. We had them do little art projects, and they were featured in an art show that we called Artivism that I'll talk about in a second. But that was one of the most empowering things for all of us as a class, to be able to band together and create a curriculum that we could teach to younger students and see the passion that they were developing. And then the Artivism group created an environmental art show all by themselves and put it on at Lincoln with the help of some of the faculty, and they got 10 art classes at Lincoln involved, and that was about 60 students in total, and received over 90 pieces of art and showcased it. It was really wonderful. And then another student group worked on a carbon audit and collected responses from about 350 students just to figure out ways that we can make Lincoln more green and we can keep pushing. And those were just ideas that us Lincoln students, predominantly a senior, junior class, created. But I just want to thank you for pushing this resolution, and ideally we could push into other schools, because imagine how cool the ideas are going to be when there's more of us.
Hi, I'm Hailey, also senior, and so our vision for the documentary that we are going to show was to capture our accomplishments this year as a class and to highlight student activism to set an example for other schools. We hope to show the power of student voices and inspire people to connect with their communities. Our activism extended outside of the Lincoln community to the city of Portland and the state of Oregon. In November, we went to City Hall numerous times to advocate for fossil fuel infrastructure restrictions. I read a personal testimony at the hearing, and it was empowering as a young person to be involved in a first-of-its-kind policy in the nation. Later in the year, we went to Salem to advocate for clean air legislation against diesel engines and had the opportunity to speak with legislators and the governor. Here in our documentary, you will see footage of these events and more projects led by students.
All right. Lights, camera, action.
On this issue has been the most powerful voice that we've heard in the city. When we had the hearing before, a couple of young women from Sunnyside Environmental School gave the best testimony at the hearing. So please continue what you're doing, that your presence on this issue, because you're going to own this problem for your whole lives, and if we don't get it right in the early part of your lives, it'll be too late.
I believe that the American people have let greed, hatred, and fear guide them. And I know that a lot of us feel hopeless right now because our nation has taken a huge step backwards in our efforts to address climate change. I know that I certainly felt desperate, useless, and scared until I remembered this hearing.
Dear Governor Brown, these Valentines are from students at Sunnyside Environmental School. We care so much about clean air for everyone. We know that you do too. Please use your power to protect our well-being so that we can have the same opportunities that you and many others had growing up. We love Oregon so much, and we want to be a role model. We want to be a role model to the rest of the country. We are counting on our elected officials to take action. We kids can't do it alone. This matters. Thank you for standing up for us and all future generations. XOXO, Little League Star Mason.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, well, basically we had the idea of trying to get the whole school together in a way that we felt everyone connected with, and we decided with art. So we have been getting all students from across the school to submit artwork that is directly related to nature and also a critique on our current climate crisis. And yeah, that's basically our project.
We're the education group, and we have made our own curriculum based on climate change and environmental justice. And we've been going to 5th grade classrooms around the district at Brenham Isle, Forest Park, Chapman, and potentially Ainsworth. And we've been teaching 5th graders about the impacts of climate change, what environmental justice is, and what they can do to help out.
Okay, so we are doing a greenhouse gas analysis of our school, which looks at
the Scope 1, Scope 2, and Scope 3 emissions, which is like the natural gas burn, the electricity used, and the emissions associated with our daily activities at the school.
The reason we got involved with this project was to sort of establish how our school is contributing to the environmental impact and things that we can do in our local community to make an impact on climate change and sort of lead by example for other schools across the nation, and to set a bar that we should expect other schools to meet as well.
And
my name is Ciala Ita, and I'm a senior from Roosevelt High School. Just a few weeks ago, we were able to have Kathy Jetnell-Kitchener come to our school and speak on climate change. Not only did she speak about climate change, but she talked about Pacific Islander youth nowadays, and it was just such a blessing. I use that word blessing, it's such a big term, but as a young Pacific Islander woman, I have never in classrooms, sorry, it just gets me so emotional, but I have never learned about climate change in any of my classrooms. Science, history, and the effects it has on the Pacific Islands. My people are having to evacuate their homes. These islands that generations before us have found because of this issue, and not many know about this, about how it really affects my people. And this piece that I wrote about was inspired by Kathy. I also do poetry, but just being able to hear her and in this workshop really influenced me to write a piece about climate change. And so, I don't know if I should present it now. Okay. She stands. No? Hello? Oh,
Yeah.
just kidding, okay. She stands in the ocean, taking in her surroundings, reminiscing of this island she calls home. All that remains is the feeling of emptiness. The water rising to her ankles, she remembers those nights waking up to her home flooded yet again, learning there is nowhere on this island to escape the floods. The next morning, she makes her daily offerings into the ocean, whispering, "Are you a friend or a foe? Please spare us some more time. I'll climb to the highest peak with my people on my back if that is what it takes to find peace." The water rises to her knees. She remembers those days picking bananas, guavas, and passion fruit, the roots of these fruits now weakened. Or to the time she would watch Mama out in the ocean with a bucket of fish in her left and a spear in her right, calling out, "Daughter, come see. The ocean has been good to me." To the day she would watch Mama carry an empty bucket of fish in her left while wiping her tears with her right, crying out, "Daughter, the ocean is angry with me." "No, Mama," she reassures, "the ocean is not angry with you or me. It is those dumping toxins into the sea, not preserving these sacred waters that generations before us have protected. Those that eyes are blinded by contamination and greed because the white man does not believe, he does not care, that climate change exists, that we are paying the price." The water rises to her hips. She retrieves those memories of those hours practicing with the other girls in the village, those movements that tell stories as her hips sway to the swift beats, her hands gracefully tracing her aura, pulling in the mana of her ancestors, while the coconut oil on her skin glistens like the sun reflecting against the ocean. The water rises beneath her breasts. She is losing herself into the sea, yet that memory of watching the angry waters disrupting the dead, their bones coming out of their graves, already lost to the sea. The water rises to her shoulders. She imagines the faces of her people if they are told, "You need to leave," the pain in their hearts, the tears falling down cheeks as they will wonder, "Where will we go?" The water rises to her head. She is ready to surrender into the sea, yet she hears the chants of her people from afar, screaming, "We will not go, we will stay, we will plant our feet into the earth." She too will plant her feet into the earth. She is staying on this island. Thank you.
Nice, thank you.
My name's Tucker Holston. I'm a senior at Lincoln High School in the environmental justice class. So the work that Kathy Jetnell-Kitchener has done in our classes, in our environmental justice and sustainability class at Lincoln, are only two examples of the work being done in the district to advance climate justice education. And we would just like to take this time to thank you, because not many other places in the country right now would be able to pass such a bold agreement to get such necessary education into our schools. And we recognize that that's extremely unfortunate, because climate change is the most important issue that we are going to face in our generation and that humanity has ever faced. And to not have like sufficient science education and sufficient education about environmental justice and all the risks posed by climate change and what we need to do about it, that's just like tantamount to decades ago students just not learning about the Cold War while it was going on. It's just absolutely ridiculous. It's the issue of our time. And we'd just like to thank you once again. Thank you to the board for helping to make PPS a national leader in climate justice education. We hope that PPS continues in this direction and like furthers these goals and that it spreads to other districts across the country. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
I just, and just in closing, I want to acknowledge the teachers that have guided these brilliant students, Tim Swinehart, Moe, and Bill Bigelow. You guys can.
All right, should we do a picture with these guys? You guys want to do a picture?
We bring on
Come on.
pictures tonight.
Don't be shy. Good job, guys. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right, next is the Chapman Public Works mural project restoration. And Pamela Van Der Wolf, you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. Hi, I'm
Welcome.
Pamela Van Der Wolf. I'm the principal at Chapman Elementary School, and I am here just to introduce Rosie Platt and Nina Olson and honor them for the amazing work that they did on the mural at our school, and I'm going to let them talk more about that.
Great. Hello, thank you for this recognition. My name is Rosie Platt. I am the project coordinator for the Chapman Wood Marquetry Conservation Project. I was also the PTA president at the time that this project started, and my main role was to seek funding for the project. So as you can see, we raised over $32,000 to allow for the conservation of this project through grants and community donations. So this project really was powerful to see our community go from having no knowledge of this piece of artwork to fully understanding the cultural and historic significance. So I'm going to introduce Nina Olson, who will talk more about the conservation project.
The artist, Amy Gorham, was a diminutive woman with an immense talent, and she was a very unique product of her time and place and an under-recognized Oregon woman artist. She had multiple ties to Portland Public Schools, having executed 14 murals during the New Deal era, and she also later taught at Washington High School. The medium that she used for this particular mural was wood marquetry, which is a technique which involves piecing together of wood veneers with variation in grain and color to create an image. Yet 80 years of accumulated wear and tear had seriously compromised the condition of the mural, the principal threat being the instability of the wood veneer, which had become unglued in many places, as you can see in this slide. There was also significant vandalism that had taken its toll on the delicate surface. So in June of 2016, the panels were removed and transferred to the studio for treatment, which involved the consolidation and repair of the wood veneer, the cleaning and removal of an opaque polyurethane coating, and restoration of vandalism to bring visual unity back to the mural. And the results were very dramatic. I have a series of detail shots that just show before and after. Left is before, on the right is after, that make you appreciate the improvements to visual legibility and how you were able to see the glowing figural effects of the wood veneer after treatment. Two interpretive panels were also designed to provide information about the wood marquetry, the wood species that were used, the WPA, Amy Gorham, and also where else students might find her work, for example, at the Portland Art Museum or Timberline Lodge. Rosie and the Chapman PTA organized a public unveiling of the mural that was held last December, and it was great because we had in attendance not only art historians and historic preservation people, but also actual descendants of Amy Gorham herself, and of course the Chapman families and community. The mural has been recognized as a highly unique made in Oregon artwork, and in fact later this month I will be presenting a project paper at the AIC, or the American Institute for the Conservation of Historic Artworks, meeting in Chicago. Just a few weeks ago, the project was honored with an Oregon Heritage Commission Excellence Award as an exemplary model for future preservation projects. Portland Public Schools has an extraordinary collection of cultural heritage. During the New Deal, Portland Public Schools was second only to Timberline Lodge in receiving art commissions for the entire Region 6, which, as you can see, it was Alaska, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana. So quite an incredible fortune to have received. Seattle Schools doesn't have anything like this. It is unique and a true treasure. The WPA era was a period of a very intense cultural innovation and with profound and lasting influence on the arts in Oregon. Some PPS works are hidden in plain sight, like the mural, this mural by Eric LeMaid at Abernathy Elementary School that is now the focus of a new collaborative effort between Heritage Conservation Group and Abernathy PTA, which is just now in its nascent fundraising stage. The ambitious project seeks to recover what is essentially a lost work of art that was covered with wall paint in the 1950s. Eric LeMaid is best known to date for his carved work at Timberline Lodge, but the Abernathy mural was always his masterwork, which was known exclusively through these archival photographs until 2007. The mural is composed as a linear chronological frieze which goes around the room and illustrates the history of Oregon. So here's the very beginning, curving around with Lewis and Clark, other famous Oregon historic figures, and ending with more recent history. In 2007, the location of the mural was identified and exploratory testing was conducted to determine the condition of the mural underneath 6 layers of paint, which is actually quite good and something of a miracle that nothing happened to it because nobody really knew it was there. And however, the project was left suspended at that stage 10 years ago. So we are hoping now in the next year to raise funds and so that we'll be able to initiate treatment in the summer of 2018. Oh, I won't take any further time. I just wanted to point out some other amazing artwork that is in your collection that's now being addressed as well, and we hope that Portland Public Schools will continue to be excellent stewards of your collection. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, let's get a picture, and first a question, then a picture.
Is there more? Where it said Amy Gorham had 14?
That's correct.
How many are left?
Most of them. There are a few that have been lost. There was an owl that was at Lincoln High School and another piece that was at Irvington that's lost. But for the most part, there was, I think it was a swan at Irvington. But for the most part, most of them are surviving, although mostly in very compromised condition because of the same sort of issues that are occurring to all of her works. In fact, tomorrow I'm going up to Timberline Lodge to do an assessment of the 2 pieces that are in their collection that are also suffering some of the same sort of aging issues.
Several years ago, they supposedly did a audit of all the artwork. Is that still available?
I believe there have been a number of them done, and I think, as I said, in 2007 when I did that work, Doug Capps at the time asked myself and Jeannie Allen to sort of revisit some of the areas because there is information as to which schools were recipients of WPA commissions, And so we tried to identify those when you were assembling your Magellan study in anticipation of upgrades. So there is something of an inventory, but not complete, and many pieces that are still, we don't really know what happened to them.
We have a couple of CS prizes upstairs.
Yes, beautiful, absolutely, absolutely wonderful. And all of the CS prices at the beach school that are and quite amazing. Yeah, it's quite an incredible collection.
Thank you very much for your work.
Come on up.
They had this brought in that Blair Fitzgibbon, who was the PPS archivist at the time, put together. It's sort of a color recreation of some of the scenes. We'll kind of cover it up. Should we cover it up?
Say there's a big gap. Yeah, squeeze together.
Let's keep it open. Wide angle. Wide angle.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. The nutritional services we want to recognize tonight as well. And I'd like to invite Jameson Holtz of Portland Parks and Recreation to say a few words, along with some others. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Geeta Granger-Sweeney, and I'm the Senior Director for Nutrition Services. And I'd like to turn this presentation over to Whitney Ellersick. She's the Assistant Director for Nutrition Services, and she oversees the summer program, so this is very appropriate.
Okay, great.
Thank you. So Portland Parks and Recreation has been a long-standing partner with Portland Public Schools, specifically with the Nutrition Services Department for well over 20 years. And we want to take the moment to recognize this and their ability to provide much-needed access to food and nutrition to our community's children, specifically during the summer. Hunger does not take a break, even though school might. And so in response, the USDA offers a program for us to host where we can provide free meals to all children ages 1 to 18 in our at-risk communities. Without the partnership that we've had with Portland Parks and Rec, many of our families and children would be in desperate need of food, and children and teens across our county would not have safe places to play. Our parks bring a sense of community, and when we're able to share a meal together, it connects us even further. Portland Parks and Rec make it possible for us to feed over 5,000 children every day, and each year this number grows because of their advocacy and support and partnership. Jameson Holtz, who is our playgrounds manager, sole playgrounds manager, has been an exceptional addition for the past 4 years, and I'm talking about for the county, not just for our district. His passion for food and for children is just undeniable. Literally just made a connection with Officer Williams at the front door to expand his mentorship and collaboration, just to kind of showcase how passionate he is about what he does. Most notably this year, he also applied for an Oregon Department of Education grant to expand our offerings, and this will allow us to go to 10 more sites through his mobile playgrounds program. So in addition to the 22 already established parks throughout our community, and he runs every day this year, June 20th through August 25th, providing that gap between the end of school until the beginning of the next school year. And out of the 72 sites that we host meals through, it's because of his 22 parks that last year we were able to serve almost 100,000 meals to our students across the county. Again, we're greatly appreciative of this partnership. There is no financial ties to this. This is just an in-kind collaboration that happens every year. And so we'd like to recognize that, the ongoing successful relationship that benefits our students directly and ensures that they are well-fed, ready to play, learn, and achieve their best every day. And so I would offer to the board and to our superintendent an opportunity to see this in action starting June 20th, to come out to any of our parks. We'd love to host you, to see the food, to see our kids in a really fun environment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Whitney. And aside from just being such an incredibly necessary program, it's really nice to see the degree of partnership.
Absolutely.
All right.
Federally, locally.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Portland Parks and Rec couldn't do it without Portland Public Schools, so thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
guys.
All right, we're going to take a quick picture as well. Yeah. This time we are. Okay. It's all about food. Good. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right. Ms. Houston, we have any student testimony tonight?
We do. We have 7. Our first 2 speakers, Fred Gresham and Veronica Green.
Welcome.
Hi. Nice painting. Good afternoon. My name is Freddie Gresham, and I am Ojibwe Chippewa Turtle Mountain Band with Anishinaabe descent. Quite a mouthful. I'm here as a student representative of my beloved school, NEA Early College Academy. I am a junior. I could talk for hours on why our program should be thriving and funded, but because of time, I'll be brief. I've been through 3 different high schools in 1 year, 2 public schools and 1 online school. I was sexually assaulted by an alumni at Roosevelt High School, which made me spiral out of control. I was not offered resources because the school was so large and counselors were more focused on sports and scholarships than students and their mental health. High school felt like an institution. I had no one-on-one relationships with teachers. Being at school was scary and hard because I had core classes with my abuser, and he never got in trouble. I was dropped from Roosevelt because of violence and truancy. Doing online school made me even more depressed, so my mom thought I should transfer to Grant. It was bigger than Roosevelt, and I had transferred 3/4 out of the year. I was bullied and forget having one-on-one relationships with the teachers because most of the teachers didn't even know my name after being there for 3.5 months. I started doing drugs and skipping and eventually started running away from home. My relationship with school was ruined because I had no adult advocates or help. NEA has saved my life. I am now a part of conversations. My voice is heard. More than my name is remembered, my hobbies and my interests and my feelings are remembered. I feel at home. I dropped out of high school my freshman year, and now I am fully on track to graduate. I have met my best friends at NEA, people I will remember forever. I have met my phenomenal boyfriend, and for once in my whole life, I feel comfortable in my skin and my culture. I hope you decide to keep funding schools like NEA at the highest level possible so that more Native youth and youth of color have the same opportunity as I did. NEA is my family. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Veronica Green. I'm from the Klamath Tribes and a junior at NEA's Early College Academy. NEA saved my life. The Early College Academy saved my life. 2 years ago, I never would have imagined myself doing what I'm doing today. When I started high school, I was one of the only queer students of color. I was lonely and had no support whatsoever. I stopped going and fell into a deep, dark pit of depression. I transferred to 2 other schools after that with basically the same outcome. The ECA has opened my eyes to a world of college opportunities and visits, which is where I got the sweater. I got the sweater at Southern Oregon University just like 2 weeks ago. Awesome. We went there and we performed. And okay, anyways. I came with 1 credit as a sophomore, and I'm a junior, and I'm now on track to graduate. I never thought I would be graduating on time, but I guess I am. At the ECA, when I have a bad day, I always have someone to talk to, which is more than all the other schools
could say, like, for real. NEA is my home away from home. I honestly don't know where I would be without it, and I would encourage you to keep funding the ECA at the highest level possible so people like me can have a place to be supported.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Kai Clayton and Hannah Dressa. Kelsey Weibel and Peyton Gibbs. Yeah.
There's three.
Quinn Adams.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, school board directors, Superintendent McKean. My name is Vivian Scott. I'm the director for youth programs at Southeast Works in the Dahl Family Youth Education and Career Development Center, one of the programs of your multiple pathways to graduation department. Thank you for the opportunity to present some of our students' experiences at Southeast Works. We understand this is budget season and appreciate the difficult considerations and decisions you face regarding your decisions, the impact that your decisions have on the educational programs in our community. Thank you for your service. Hopefully, the recent announcement of co-chairs proposals may produce fewer reductions than previously anticipated. Looking forward to the new Every Student Succeeds Act, we see the possibility for the district to increase flexibility and responsiveness to student needs. We are heartened by the intent to involve all stakeholders, educators, students, families, and community organizations. We're committed to Oregon's vision to ensure each and every student has access to completing high school and to facilitating authentic partnerships between schools and community organizations. I'm very pleased to present Kelsey Weibel, Peyton Gibbs, and Quinn Adams.
Hi, I'm Kelsey, and everybody seeks a safe place in times of struggle. For some people, that's church. Some people, that's a shelter. But for me and my peers, that place was Southeast Works Youth Program. In 2016, I dropped out of high school. The way the system was set up made it feel like a mental prison. With my depression growing and my discovery of another path for education, I dropped out. A month after dropping out and struggling to learn the subjects to pass the tests, my family and I actually got evicted from our home due to foreclosure. With nowhere to go, my parents and I struggled to keep jobs that could barely get us by. We bounced back and forth from really unsafe and depressing living situations. Affording food, let alone paying for where we were staying at the time, was almost impossible. It was, and still is, a hard thing to go through. But then I discovered the Southeast Works Youth Program. After an orientation and a couple months of tutoring, I began the cohort. And during this time, I opened my heart to friendship and put trust in my teachers. I came to school and had access to delicious meals twice a day, a comfortable and caring atmosphere, and the most efficient classes I've ever been in. I learned so much about how to do math and things from our history and intriguing aspects in science and how to form essays with grammar. The teachers, staff, and counselors never made me feel unwelcome, and they never made me feel anything but at home and loved, which I really needed at the time. The monthly bus passes made it possible for me to get to school and work, and the weekly attendance incentive checks up to $50 my peers and I earned were a lifesaver, literally. Then finally the GED tests were upon me, and with the help of my instructors, I passed each test. The program paid $30 for each of the 4 tests, which was $152, and which this day I'm so very thankful for. And basically without this program, I would be in a really bad place right now, and this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Now I'm at Mount Hood Community College pursuing a degree in natural resources technology, and everything Southeast Works offered me and my peers is really appreciated.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
My name is Peyton Gibbs. I have been in Southeast Works since March 14th, 2017, and in my short time there, I have very quickly become involved with staff and peers. and I've never had that opportunity before. At any other school, it is business as usual. They do not take the time to know you, and it feels like most do not care. You have to go to the school counselor to even start thinking about expressing your feelings. The point is that Southeast Works is a safe zone. It is a safe zone literally in the sense that you feel physically safe, and more importantly, you feel emotionally safe to be there, both with staff and peers. The staff ask you how you're doing every day and multiple times a day because they care. They want to see you succeed and move forward with your life. They support you in any way that they can. One example is our Thursday community meeting. This is the time when we sit down as a whole and discuss upcoming events for the community, and it gives us a chance to bond together. It is a place to be vulnerable and sincere about things that are happening and have happened in our lives, and to reflect on that with others. In addition to this comfort, and maybe because of it, I personally feel I've learned more school content in my time here than have learned in all of my high school years put together. Yesterday I took my social studies practice test and got 182 out of 200, evidence that I will be earning college credit when I take the official exam. I feel this is proof that the Southeast Works team is very functional and helpful to the community and should not have money cut from the program.
Thank you very much. Good job.
And I'm Quinn Adams. I'm actually a graduate from Southeast Works, starting next fall term at Portland State University on a full ride scholarship. And when I came to Southeast Works, I was a 5-time high school dropout. I dealt a lot with bullying during high school and had given up on anything, especially college. I was specifically struggling a lot with bullying due to the fact that I'm transgender. And I came into Southeast Works not really expecting a lot, but was met with just this overwhelming sense of community and love. There was never a day where I was ignored. If I was having a bad day, every staff member that is in the building is more than willing to listen. They would feed me if I didn't have food at home. And I was, after the short time I was there, given the opportunity the entire time working at my own pace to take my tests, one of which I did get college credit for. The other ones I was tested at a college-ready place, giving me my availability to get a scholarship. I was given job help. I was given resources that I never thought I'd have available, and I was given a home more than anything else. I was given a family.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for your time this evening, and I have a few things that I would like to leave with Karen that she can distribute to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good evening.
Thank you for coming, everybody. All right. Ms. Houston, public comment.
We have 3.
Okay.
Margaret Baumgartner and Shannon Winningham.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Shannon Winningham, and I'm here tonight to give testimony as both an educator and a parent. My son Luke attends Dunaway Elementary in Southeast Portland. Dunaway is slated to lose some key staff positions in light of the impending budget cuts. Our assistant principal, Dave Snyder, part-time special education teacher, Holly Ingram, and our part-time counselor, Kate Mowry. As a mom of a boy who was all boy, Dave Snyder has made a personal connection with my son Luke out on the playground. He's helped Luke and other boys use positive problem solving, creating a safer atmosphere at our school. Dunaway has no male classroom teachers, and Mr. Snyder provides a visible and available male role model in education for hundreds of boys at our school. He also provides the teachers with discipline support and problem solving so that learning can move forward in the classroom when issues arise. Without the support of Mr. Snyder, educational minutes would be lost and students would not have a positive, present, male role model. In addition, for the past several months, my son Luke has been a part of a social skills group led by our part-time counselor, Kate Mowry. The group is called the Worry Wizards, and they meet weekly to focus on skills to help cope with anxiety, a rising problem among our children. Luke struggles with worry in relation to natural disasters, such as earthquakes, things that are out of our control. Kate has been instrumental in providing social emotional support to Luke. We cannot afford to lose Kate Mowry, Dave Snyder, and Holly Ingram. As an educator, a parent, and a taxpayer, it worries me to see that not only is our school falling apart physically on the outside with a leaky roof and peeling paint, but I also feel like things are falling apart a little bit on the inside. Please, as you head into the budget, please look for cuts elsewhere, as parents at Dunaway cannot fill the gaps that these positions will leave. Large elementary schools like Dunaway need assistant principals and need to retain staff in fragile positions such as special education and counseling, where creating a personal relationship built on trust and knowing the child's history is important. It's a return on your investment worth taking. Thank you for listening to my concerns regarding staffing cuts. I hope that you can reevaluate and find other areas to cut, as these people play a key role in providing a positive, safe, nurturing environment for our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Margaret Baumgartner. I'm here today as a concerned parent from Dunaway Elementary School. I have two children. One's a kindergartner, one's a second grader, and this is my first year at Dunaway. One of the big concerns I have just in the short time that I've been at Dunaway is just seeing how involved our assistant principal is in just assuring the daily safety of our children. Our kids are allowed to be dropped off at our elementary school every day at 8:30 a.m. That they can be dropped off in the schoolyard, or they can go into the cafeteria. They arrive from buses or from parents dropping them off. Sometimes, there's just a parent driving by and letting the kid out, and off they go. Dave is the eyes and the ears on that schoolyard every morning. And with over 500 children at our school, I have a real concern about the possibility of him not being there. Originally, the budget allowed for schools over 500 students to keep their assistant principal, but with the 2017-2018 budget, it would require that we have over 600 students. Over 500 students still seems like an awful lot of kids to me to assure safety, not to mention how he supports both the students themselves out on the playground and in the classroom, and also provides the kids with support both for vulnerable students and behavioral needs, so that the principal can support the staff and be there to help with their growth and development as well. I just think it's real important to make sure that we have, where our teachers are stretched very thin, the class numbers are up, and I just want us to make sure that we are not taking away, the people that are the eyes and the ears on the playground, throughout the school, making sure that small problems don't turn into bigger problems for all of our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lastly, we have Michael Grice.
I don't see Michael Grace.
That's it.
That's it, okay. Thank you. We'll now vote on the business agenda. Board members, is there anything you'd like to pull from that agenda? Ms. Susan, are there any changes?
No.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt the business agenda?
So moved.
Well, second.
Moved by Director Anthony, seconded by Director Constam. Any public comment, Ms. Susan?
No.
All right. All those in favor, please indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Any abstentions? The business agenda is approved by a vote of 7-0, with Student Representative Bradley not here. The next regular meeting of the board will be held May 23rd, 2017, and this meeting is adjourned.